I'm Annabel Pollert. I am a sophomore at Carmel High School. I'm a long distance runner. I run cross country and track. I was a part of the state team that we won cross country state. Sorry, we went to Nike Cross Country Nationals as a team, qualified for Indiana, and I ran at HSR finals this weekend. So,
So you're dropping a lot of you sophomore, you've been on a lot of amazing platforms already, doing cross country and distance and track. How did you get interested in track and field? And then also after that, we'll dive into some of your accolades and accomplishments, right, that you've already been exposed to.
yeah. So I'm lucky that Carmel has a really great it has a really great program for younger kids. Starting in fourth and fifth grade, they have this like pups running thing that's kind of this short, like couple week long season of cross country in the fall, and then like like a month long thing of like track where you get to just like try out some stuff. It's kind of fun. So I did that. I did pups running, and that just kind of led me to do cross country and track in middle school, and I kind of loved it. It was just I always knew I really really liked it. So that was always once I started, I loved it. So yeah.
Awesome. And so, you just said you've been able to do cross country. You all traveled to Nike state championship team. What would you say has been one of your most memorable moments? And again, we're just coming off a high from this past weekend, HSR indoor. Share with
Yeah.
us what's
I would say I've been really proud of my track season so far, but a lot of my most memorable moments I have came from last cross country season with my team. We just shared like ton of like great memories. I mean, there were so many awesome meets. I would say probably a top one was winning state, but I would say I guess this isn't like well, at NXR was a super fun moment, but it was also stressful because the top two teams from each regional make it to like nationals. We got third, but then they do like another selection process. So and we ended up getting selected as like a large bid. So that was a very fun time, but it was also super stressful. I mean, once we knew that we were going, it was amazing, but it was a couple of stressful couple of weeks, but I really enjoyed like experiencing all that with like my teammates. It was so awesome. The whole cross country season was just it was amazing.
That's cool. So you've had these big experiences in cross country. I don't know how track season went for you last year, but you're only a freshman. So this year you're a sophomore, you're HSR, and you were runner up, was it? In the
Yeah, I was runner up in the 3200 for
so
large schools.
so you're young in the sport, these big stages. Mentally, how do you prepare yourself for these things?
I like taking myself through like what I know sort of the race will be like or could be like. I like talking it over. I talk it over with my coaches a lot. We discuss, especially this year, we've had more of a focus on like strategy, not so much like what you have to do in a race, but like what the options of what you could do based on how the race goes, which is it's kind of nice like and it's giving me a lot of confidence in my racing because I know that I can tackle different like situations, like maybe not so fast of a start or like tackle like certain moves that other people might make or like moves that I could make. And it's giving me a lot of confidence that like even though like I've been competing at some of these like bigger stages, like that I know I can still do well and I know that I still have confidence in like my running.
Yeah, it seems like distance running gives you that ability to have be more strategic. It's
yes,
not like a
Yeah.
sprint. You have 11 seconds or
right.
Yeah.
15 seconds or under
Yeah.
60 seconds to make it happen, but
Yeah.
you have laps.
Get some laps.
Yeah,
That's
you
what I
have
love
time
about
to
it.
like, oh, this strategy didn't work for this lab, but now I have. So no, that's pretty. It gives you time to think and process, but I'm sure it's still quick. Or how would you say that is? Where it's like, hey, this is going to be my strategy.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's the best thing to do is like you have to trust your gut like within a race and you just have to you can't second guess yourself. Like you just have to trust yourself and be confident in the racer and the athlete that you are. And I mean the strategy and like that for me is just such like a fun part of distance running. I think such an underrated part. Like some people think it's like so like boring watching all these laps, but if you're really like looking at it, like look at the people who are like making moves when like they're speeding up, like when they're like kind of settling in, like all throughout the race, like front to back, like there's things going on, and it's so interesting to me, and I that's why I love it.
Goodness.
I'll have to
Again,
look at the 32 from a different lens from here on out.
exactly. Like I was gonna say, you're pretty much calling out a lot of the coaches, right? Where it's just like, I mean, honestly, but when you get on the big stage, that's when you really see the heart and the effort, the impact and strategy that the runners have. But you are definitely even giving us a different perspective on how you tackle the race. And so with that, right, Annabelle, you have your strategy, you go in, this is what you and your coach talked about. This is what, you and your teammates, you're in a race. And so how do you handle those times where there may be setbacks? The race didn't go how you wanted, or you were put on a relay and it's not kind of quite like how I wanted it to happen. How do you handle those setbacks?
I think when handling setbacks within a race, like you gotta you gotta stay mentally in it and in the moment. Like you have to stay in the moment and do what you can do at that moment to make the race like to make the best of like the race that you can. You might get boxed in like at the beginning, like that happens in like a lot of distance events. Like you can maybe not get as good of a start. The 32, that's not a huge thing 'cause, you got a couple laps to fix that. But for some of like the shorter races, like an 800 or 16, like you just kind of have to stay calm, especially like when things aren't going your way or if there's gaps occurring. Like if you're so far behind the leaders, like you have to stay calm and not let it like get to you. I'd say like you just do what you can do in the moment, and it's all gonna work out how it's gonna work out. Like you just got to put your all into it.
Now I know your parents have probably played a major role when you talk about running with the pups club and all this stuff. So, are there any particular values that your parents kind of instilled in you that you can apply to your athletic career?
Yeah, my parents have definitely they prioritize like working hard and like everything that like me and my siblings do. Like I mean my siblings like my two sisters, they all play sports, and working hard is a huge thing, like not giving up. And that's those kind of things like they've just taught me like how to like be a great athlete, great like teammate, especially, and all these things you got to focus on. But yeah,
Now, are you where are you in the order?
I'm the oldest of my two
Oh,
sisters.
nice.
So,
Yeah.
so you're the example setter.
Yes. Do your siblings, do they run track and cross country?
Yeah, my middle sister does. She did cross country and she's in track right now for Clay Middle School. She's a sixth grader. And my littlest sister, she did like pups. So yeah, they do other sports too, though. Like,
And
but
coach said you set the bar high, right? So you
Yeah.
are not. So they have some great things to look up to. So, Annabelle, how do you define success? I mean, really already anyone on the outside looking in can say, whoa, sophomore, you a runner up, 3,200. Like, how do you define success? So,
I think success is just being a little bit better than you were like last race. Like, of course, like having big breakthroughs is awesome, but like that's like it can't happen every single time, you know what I mean? Just a little bit better than you were before, like that over time, it'll equal a lot. Yeah.
Now, what do you say? Well, how do you handle your feedback from your coaches? I know you talked about strategies and all that. So how do you handle the feedback from them?
I really taken into account like all the feedback that they give me, like looking at like races or training, workouts, like they're really knowledgeable in what they're talking about. So I take in, I hear a lot about like the feedback that they give me, and I try to apply it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
so how would you say you view your competitors?
I Indiana, Indiana, like running, like I feel like we're actually a pretty like close group. Like we all kind of like know each other. We're friendly. Like I know a lot of these people I've been running against since like middle school, especially like even like some of the best like distance runners. Like I've been running against them since middle school. Like I've seen them like throughout the years. So I mean, it's kind of, when you're in the race, like you just kind of have to, there's no friends during a race, but there's friends after a race, and it's really great being a part of such a great like running community, and getting to meet all these people is super cool.
What do you say that like you run cross country and track? Both are to us. I'm a sprinter at heart.
Yeah.
So your workouts would never work for me. So how do you deal with the tough workouts? How do you make it through those tough training sessions? How does that play for you mentally?
I'd say that like when I'm going through like some tougher like training sessions, like I think what my coach Williams, the head coach of cross country for Carmel, he told me like something like in the fall is like you have to focus on the rep that you're on. Like you can't be thinking about the end of the workout. Like you just focus on where you are right now, especially for some of those like longer cross country workouts. I can kind of really take it out of you. Like that really helped me like to it alleviates a lot of that stress, not thinking about the end. Like you just think about what you have to do in that moment. And you know, you I'm really lucky to have really great teammates too that we work together on our workouts and we're able to push each other, which is awesome.
Okay. So, what do you think sets apart a great athlete from a good athlete?
I think a great athlete is someone who makes running a part of their whole life, and it has to like it's just like a part of who they are. It has to do with their sleep, nutrition, all of that kind of stuff. And people who are really driven and consistent, I think consistency is like pretty overlooked, like not overlooked obviously, but it's something that's not talked about as much. Like yes, you can work hard, but is that hard work every single day, or is that kind of just when you feel like it? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's what a great athlete is.
Now, being where you are now, you're still young in the sport, but looking back on your younger self, what advice would you give yourself or some younger person who's like getting into running?
I would say if I was talking to like my younger self or somebody just getting into running, I would say that just try as many things as you can and try not to take yourself too seriously. I was pretty stressed out as a middle schooler, but try not to take every meet so seriously and enjoy the process a little bit more, and enjoy the meets because that's the fun part where you get to, show how all your hard work has paid off.
Mhm. That's for sure. Yeah, have fun for sure. That's great advice. How do you think your experience as an athlete will benefit you in life and your career?
My experience as an athlete, I've had a lot of great experiences, and I think in life it'll teach like being an athlete has taught me so much about like hard work and working with a team, which is just, like so important. I'll take it with me like forever. I That like drive, that competitiveness, but also that ability to work together with other people for something bigger than yourself is huge.
Yeah, I think that's a huge advantage being an athlete. Like a big part of that is, I'd say, especially if you go and you run in college and all that, whatever you go apply for a job, I would use that. It separates you so much from everybody else. Like I have a small business, but the only people I ever hired were athletes. Well, I take that back. I hired a few people to let me know that I should only hire athletes. So it's like they just work different. I mean, it's a different way of being, you know. Um,
Mhm.
so what's give us a rundown of like your typical daily routine, like during season, like what is it that you do? I know distance runners have a whole different, it's a different world for us.
Um,
But how does that run down like your daily routine?
I'd say just like a typical day. I do try to make sure I get sleep. I have a lot of like homework, obviously, but that's something I've really, especially this year, I've really tried to make a priority. You go to school, but then you have like practice after school. I might get home. I want to like make sure throughout the day, like I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. Make sure I get a solid meal, like solid 3 meals, like throughout the day, and get enough like food to do all the things that I do. And then after practice, a lot of homework. But if it's like something, if I had like a hard workout, or if I'm feeling sore, or if it's, especially if it's like the day before a meet, sometimes I'll like ice, I'll roll out a lot. I make sure to stretch a lot at home to just make sure stay, my muscles stay good and injury free. Yeah, try to
Nice.
go to bed at a decent time.
Yeah, that sleep is a big one. You don't
Hmm.
want to
Yeah,
miss out on that one. That's how you recover, And the earlier you can go to bed, the better because your body recovers more. So
yeah.
Would you say, if at all, you've had to sacrifice anything being a track and cross country athlete?
Yeah, I would say I'd have to sacrifice a lot of like my social life. I just don't like have as much free time like to hang out with friends or like Friday night football games. Uh it's like sometimes it's hard, but I love to run and that to me is the most fun thing. So and I get to hang out with my teammates a lot. So
Yeah,
but I do try. I want to hang out with friends when I can, but it's sometimes you have to make sacrifices, especially like to do well. And
for sure. But it sounds like even how you shared with us throughout our entire conversation, your teammates, you all have experienced so much together, and so that bond that can't be broken. And so I'm sure you have a lot of great friendships with that. So your social hour is practice and track meets and what you all do pre and post track meets and things like that. So I think that's always the team camaraderie component of being an athlete as well.
mhm.
I have a random question for you. It's
Yeah,
not really random, but it's kind of random. You ran cross country, and my thing with cross country is that the weather changes, and this goes from like sunny and we're running in the summertime to we're running in the winter. What's the most challenging weather condition you've been a part of?
the most challenging, like in like my whole running career, or like more
Yeah,
recently,
whole
like high
running
school.
career, because you've done it both ways. You went from the summer going into the winter, and then from the winter coming into the summer. So, yeah.
I'd say my maybe the most challenging. I don't know, like NXR in middle school. I forget what grade I was in. There was a rough year where there was like snow on the ground. It was so cold outside. And it was freezing. I ran a PR that day, but it was so cold. I was in like leggings and like a long sleeve like underneath my jersey. It was so cold. I was with one of my like now teammates, Sadie. We were going like from our car. We'd like run and then like before the race we went back in our car. That's probably like in my whole running career. Recently at Nike Cross Nationals, that race was a it was pretty rough. It was cold and it was raining and we were just in like our regular singlets and shorts. It was and the course got absolutely torn up. It was mud everywhere. It was crazy. Um, but yeah, those were cross country is a wild sport. There's a lot of crazy weather that goes on.
Yeah, cold and rainy, neither of
Uh,
which are my my forte.
Rain, sleet, shine, snow, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna run. If we asked your teammates or your coaches to describe you in one word, what would they say and why?
I think regardless of my coaches or teammates, maybe they'd describe me as driven. I'd
Hmm.
say I'm very driven, like in the sport and hopefully in everything that I do. I'm very focused and yeah, that I mean it affects everything I do. I'm pretty when I get focused on something, especially I'm mostly focused on running. So, but yeah, probably stay focused or driven.
Oh, that's cool. Now I know you all as Carmel as a school, you won HSR. It seems you've been on a streak of winning HSR, but there's the outdoors.
Mhm.
What role do you see yourself playing in terms of helping the team? We've spoken with your coach before. So
Yeah, a girl.
his thing is I want to win the big one.
Yeah,
So what role do you see yourself playing as part of your team? Maybe relays, individual events. How do you see yourself?
there's a lot of moving pieces on my team. There's a ton of great I have a ton of great teammates. We all have run all these fast times. So June is pretty far away, but we all want to win the big one. So I want to contribute to my team however I can, whether that be relay or individual, like whatever I need to do to score as many points for my team as I can.
So what are you looking forward to for the outdoor season? We know the big thing is we want a state championship, but what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to being a part of some of these like competitions that I didn't make it out of sectionals last year. Like I did like the 800, but and then I didn't end up running at state. But I'm looking forward to. I want to be a part of, some of these. I want to be a part of some of these meets, and I want to be competitive and just really race my best and get the chance and the opportunity to.
Well, Anna, we appreciate you, Annabelle. We appreciate you joining us. Um,
Mhm.
uh,
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for joining us.
We had a fight to get some Carmel people on here.
Right, right. So we're glad to have you for sure.
Gabby opened the door though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anna, if the viewers wanted to follow you or coaches or other athletes, where could they follow you? What platforms could they follow you on?
Probably just on Instagram. My Instagram's just Annabel Pollert. Yeah, pretty much just on that. But
Cool.
Well, we are looking forward to seeing some great success from you for outdoor. Continue the momentum off of your indoor season, and so we're wishing you the best of luck.
yeah, thank you guys so much.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.